Radio with Todd Marquardt is sponsored by the Marquardt Law Firm and does not attempt to solve your individual legal problems upon the basis of information contained herein. Instead, contact an attorney to discuss the specific facts and circumstances of your unique situation. The views and opinions of this program do not reflect the views of the Salem Media Group.
Be seated.
It's time for Talk Law Radio with Todd Marquardt. Todd Marquardt, attorney at law in Texas. If you're a millionaire or a thousandaire, Talk Law Radio is now on the air. Call in with your business law question, your elder law question, veteran aid, Medicaid, build a business to get paid. 210-308-8867. Or ask a question online at marquardtlawfirm.com. That's MARQUARDT lawfirm.com. And now it's Talk Law Radio with Todd Marquardt.
Todd Marquardt on the radio, on podcasts everywhere, on Facebook, on YouTube, and on talklawradio.com. Today we're going to be talking about long-term care and how to pay for it with Stuart Waldenmaier. But first we're going to talk about the financial focus with Joseph Warren, who is as CEO for financially successful people who want to have some strategy in their financial planning. Of course, you know on this show that we talk about discovering hidden legal blind spots, the things you don't know that you don't know, which can end up costing you your family legacy. So today we're going to be looking at the financial side of that same question. Joseph Warren is a fee-only comprehensive financial CEO, and you work with some of the most highly successful families here in San Antonio. In your professional experience, what's the single biggest blind spot or mistake for smart, affluent people with their wealth?
Yeah, great question, Todd. And thanks for having me on again. Always a pleasure to be here. I would say the number one mistake that I see financially successful people make is operating under uncoordinated advice. And you'd probably agree with that, right? So, you may have a great team of experts around you. You may have a really smart CPA, tax expert, who knows all the tax laws, knows how to save you money and keep you compliant. An insurance agent who knows the best policies, the best, financial products out there, legal experts, really brilliant experts like Todd Marquardt.
Thank you for saying so.
And, business lawyers who know their stuff and an investment manager who gets great returns and really credentialed. But at the end of the day, if they're not communicating with each other, if they're not talking to each other, the result is going to be that you're paying a lot of money for these really smart experts, but you're wasting your time, wasting your money, and it could lead to a lot of big mistakes being made by, I see it all the time, by some advice conflicting with other advice, and just confusion, just like a lack of clarity. So our thing is we like to coordinate everything, sort of like a quarterback, and make it sure that all these experts are operating under the same playbook. They know what your goals are, they know what your strategy is, and they're pushing forward in that direction. And they're actually, helping to build the strategy. So you have the tax experts' input. And we find that we do that. It helps people to achieve their goals faster with a lot less stress. And yeah, that's why we do what we do.
I think that's valuable for people to have less stress.
Yep.
And I can see how dangerous it would be to have experts that don't communicate with one another. But what does that look like in real life?
I've seen a lot of smaller things. So some that we were able to catch was, one, we had a CPA where, we got a new client. We talked to him and we like to coordinate with their team that they have already. And he made it very clear, just flat out, I'm not interested in long-term planning. I just do the documents. And we were actually asking him a question about how much W-2 income should this business owner pay themselves. But when we started digging into what the work he had done, because we like to look at the past 3 years of what they've done, we found that he was way overpaying himself, way more than a reasonable salary. And the result was he was having to pay, an extra $17,000 about in taxes per year. So we just made some adjustments, recommended a new CPA, recommended that he fire his existing one. And just with the same exact income, just make it so that $17,000 stayed in his pocket, went to the business instead of going towards, the IRS.
Wow, that's awesome. I have business owner clients who are incredibly successful at what they do, and some of them think that they're so smart that they can just manage their own investments. Is there anything wrong with that approach?
The do-it-yourself approach, there's nothing wrong if you love doing it, but I would just make the point that investments are just one piece of the puzzle. So we have many smart clients who they have options accounts. Some even have futures. I don't even mess with futures and stuff like that. They have futures accounts. They day trade and they do pretty well. They're financially savvy people. They do it because they love doing it. And that's totally fine. But are they really thinking about how does this affect my tax picture? Are they actually thinking about which account should I put this in? Which different type of account should it be? They're probably not, right? It's like a hobby. It's something fun that they like doing, and we're fine with letting them do that. But we want to look at the overall financial picture that they have and make sure that even if they are day trading and doing really well at that, that we're counterbalancing that with some capital losses, doing some tax loss harvesting, that we're doing everything we can so that they keep as much money for themselves and for their family and their business as possible. And they're confident that even if it's not the investments, it's the taxes, it's the legal part of it, that every decision they're making is moving them forward towards the goals that they have and what they want to achieve for the reasons that are important to them. So the question I would ask somebody is, how much faster would you reach your goals if you had a team of experts, right, that were handling all the disciplines of finance for you, coming to you with a strategy, but not only that they were communicating with each other. It was like a mastermind group, and they really all knew what your playbook was, what your financial strategy was, what's important to you. And the strategy was in alignment with that. And whether you handle the day trading or things like that on your own, I think if you have that, you would hit your goals a lot faster. And I've seen it happen many times.
That's awesome. I met somebody recently, an attorney that wants to retire so that she can spend more time investing.
Yeah, I've seen that too. It's fun. I like investing too for fun. I have an options portfolio and I have a lot of fun. I'm not going to name any of the companies that I'm in. But yeah, it's our clients are financially successful. They're intelligent people. They know what they're doing. Some of them are delegators. They just want to hand it off to us, have us report to them. That's actually the vast majority of our clients and the best people to work with for our business is, they say, we want you to come to us with what the strategy is, why it makes a better outcome for us, and then we hold them accountable to get it done, right? And that's usually what our clients do, but some of them like to invest and do things like that.
I can see how tax mistakes and legal mistakes can be made by a do-it-yourself person. I know that you use a values-based approach that's completely different from the typical Wall Street pitch. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so the first meeting, I kind of talked about this a little bit, but what we're looking to do is what we do is we create an alignment of all those financial experts, right? So they're working in perfect harmony. And then we create a strategy based on that and then hold you accountable to getting it done. And the values-based approach starts with a meeting where we really dig deep on what your values are around money, right? It usually starts with the surface level answer, like I want security, but then it gets higher and higher, right? I want to really glorify the kingdom of God with my money. I want to make an impact in this world. I want to impact people who went through things similar to what I went through. And we build the plan around that. So it's not just like one size fits all advice. It's personalized to what you said was important to you and what your spouse said was important to you. It's really a neat experience. It's hard to communicate it or do it justice, just kind of describing it. It's something you have to experience. It's like going to Disney World or something.
Right. So
maybe not as fun, but pretty fun.
Do you have an offer to help people dip their toes into that experience?
Yeah. The offer is if you're listening to this, we can't work with everybody because we work with just a select number of clients because we really want to coordinate all those aspects of the finances. So we're not just trying to do one thing. We want to help handle the strategy when it comes to taxes, investments, legal, working with experts. But if any of this resonated with you, if any of it made sense to you and you feel like you could do better or achieve your goals faster if you had a team of experts on your side that were all pushing in the direction of helping you achieve your goals, or if you feel like you could improve in any of these aspects of your finances that we talked about, I would highly encourage you to give me a call. Our number is 210-444-2128. Again, that's 210-444-2128. And if you give us a call, we would just set up a 20-minute Zoom consultation to learn more about you, what's important to you. If it makes sense to work together or to follow up with the next step, we would do a financial roadmap. That's the experience I was talking about. Talk about what's important to you. your exact goals when it comes to money, exactly where you are now financially. And then if we're a good fit, we make an offer to work with you. Like I said, it's one flat, transparent fee. So it's not like a complicated commission or anything like that, or it's really as a dollar figure fee. And yeah, we really like to talk with you and see if we could save you a lot of money, because we've been able to save people tens of thousands, sometimes hundreds of thousands, just with a good strategy where all the experts are coordinated.
I love that. Call Joseph. He works with his dad and his brother, and
Yep.
they help you eliminate stress. And I was thinking of the tush push in football. When you have all your experts behind you pushing
Yeah.
to accomplish your goals. I really like that.
Yeah.
We got to take a break. We'll be right back. Stay tuned. Are you confident about your financial future? What if you had a clear financial roadmap and a team holding you accountable to make the best financial decisions no matter what? At Financial Planning HQ, Steve and his sons, Joseph and Jacob, have been helping San Antonio families since 1987 with inspiring, intelligent financial strategies. Whether it's achieving or maintaining financial independence, becoming more tax efficient, or building business wealth, we create a comprehensive, written lifetime financial strategy that's uniquely yours, based entirely on what's important to you. Don't leave your financial future to chance. Call Financial Planning HQ today at 210-685-2722. That's 210-685-2722. And take the first step towards financial clarity. That's Financial Planning HQ, inspiring financial strategies for San Antonio. Remember, 210-685-2722. Estate planning is about love, not money. It's one of the most thoughtful things you can do for the people you care about. I'm attorney Todd Marquardt, and I help families prepare for the unexpected so they can avoid court, avoid confusion, and avoid conflict. Whether you're starting from scratch or updating an old plan, I'll walk you through it. Get started with a free consultation. Call 210-530-4278 or visit marquardtlawfirm.com. Do it before you die.
9:30 a.m.
Welcome back to Talk Law Radio. I'm Todd Marquardt here with Stuart Waldenmaier, who is going to tell us about long-term care insurance today. And now it's time to discover your legal issue blind spots by listening to me talk about the law on the radio. Stuart, you started TLC Advisory Group in early 2009.
Yes, sir.
With a passion for providing clients with unbiased, comprehensive planning solutions. But your insurance career started in 1986 at the age of 19.
It did. It was
That's-
a fluke.
Well, tell us about that.
Well, I went to Georgia Tech when I first got out of high school, and after a year, I realized I didn't want to be an engineer like my dad, my brother, my uncle, my cousin. And so I came out to Dallas for a summer job, and I ended up working in insurance. And they ended up paying for my to go to school at night. I got into management, and I learned a lot about just how you can help people with insurance and then financial solutions as I got longer into my career.
So you used your engineer mind to help with planning financially.
Exactly. But I use a calculator instead of Ouija boards.
That's great. Before we get into talking about the laws and the history of long-term care, I'd like to say a prayer. I'm doing a Bible study about the book of John, and my prayer today is based on John 1:17, which is, "For the law was given through Moses, grace and truth came through Jesus Christ." Dear God, thank you for this day. Thank you for all the gifts and blessings you give us. Please forgive us for our sins, for our mistakes, and for doing the wrong thing. Help us understand the law, but more so, help us understand grace and truth through Jesus Christ. Please help Stuart and me give good information about how to pay for long-term care today. Help us to use the gifts and talents you've given us for the good of your people, for our own good, and for your glory. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
I was looking at statistics this morning. The statistics show that 56% of Americans turning 65 will need home care, assisted living care, memory care, or nursing home care. You see, doctors have figured out how to keep us alive for such a long time. People are living more with chronic disabilities and chronic illnesses. So, Stuart Waldenmaier, how can Americans turning 65 pay the high cost of care?
Well, there's 5 ways. One can be just out of pocket. One can be people get misconstrued. They think that Medicare is going to cover their long-term care. Well, it will if you have a hospital confinement, go to rehab, and from rehab you can get 20 days of care covered by Medicare if you are improving.
Right.
And so you got to show improvement. And then they still go up to 100 days, but then you have some out of pocket that incur after that. And so one way that people help cover that is with a Medicare supplement or a Medicare advancement, but that's only for where it's short term and you're recovering.
Right.
So that's one way. The other is just to pay out of pocket, like I mentioned, for with cash, which you spend down your assets. The other is you could look at buying a long-term care policy in advance that will help be there for that need. Typically, we see folks who have bought these policies 20, 30 years ago, and they wait until they use them or they never use them. And then there's a more disciplined approach where somebody who's 65, we meet a lot of folks turning 65 because they come to us for Medicare, they're retiring, a referral, et cetera, and they haven't bought a standalone traditional long-term care. And the number of companies who offer those today is a lot less. And at 65, they realize that within the next 20 years, if you're going to have a claim, that's most likely when you'll use it. And so they're really stringent on their underwriting, the costs, and we just do a cost-benefit analysis as a financial advisor, fiduciary. We look at what are the options for them. And so there's new hybrid approaches that you can utilize for paying for it, life insurance, annuity-based. And then there's the approach that you and I have worked together on, which is you can have Medicaid pay for it. But each of them has their pluses, their minuses, and it just depends on each particular person's individual needs.
Yeah.
And their finances.
You have such a long experience. I mean, I'm not saying you're old.
Oh, I'm getting older every day.
but you started at age 19.
Right.
So can you share with us some more details of all the different types of experience in the financial industry that you've been involved in?
Well, I began actually paying Medicare supplement claims with a calculator from TI, because the company I worked with was downtown Dallas, and it was faster on that calculator than the old 1960 whole first floor of the insurance company computer system. And so people would mail in sometimes we'd get a shoebox of bills and we'd have and match it up with what Medicare and
Goodness.
And so and when I started in October 6th of 86. And so I went home and I was excited to go sit down with my grandmother. She goes, I got a few boxes I need some help with. And so when I went home, she had 3 boxes for 3 years worth of claims that she had never filed. So I went through them, and first thing I did, I was like, well, they might not go back 3 years. So let's call the insurance company. So we called them, got an exception, I explained to them what I do. And I went and put them all together, and she got a check for several $1,000s. And back in 86, that was a lot. And so that was right out of the box. I could see where I could help somebody. It's gotten a lot different now where you don't have to file the claims yourself anymore. The doctor does. And
Right.
it's really evolved over the years. So that's, I realized, I like this. This works well. And then the insurance companies told me that if I go to school at night and make a beer better, they'd pay for it. So I just went that career, had never thought about it. And such a blessing, though, that I did, because I've helped and touched and affected so many families in their lives since. And that's one of my legacies that I want to leave, is the fact of we've taken care of people. And so there I went into management, companies that in the late 80s, a lot of insurance companies were owned by holding companies. And so they were bought and sold and bought and sold. And 3 of the first 4 companies I worked with got bought and sold and moved out of state. And because I was in management, they wanted me to go. And I just helped pack them up and said, no, I'm going to stay here. I was in Dallas. And And then I got an opportunity to go, and I went down to Galveston, worked at an insurance company on the island, and finished my degree at UH Clear Lake. And
Was that fun?
oh, that was fun. And actually, what I got into was managing litigation for health insurance. And what my eyes was to look at, okay, did the company do something wrong? Was there something that the client might not have advised the insured? And try to find the common ground and reach an amicable resolution for everybody would be as happy as they were going to be. And I got really actually proficient at that. And when I graduated, instead of getting into what I do today, the president of the company called me up with the chief counsel and offered me to go to law school to join you back in 1998. And I talked to my wife about it at the time, and we came to the resolution that that's not any ambition that I had. I would utilize attorneys to do that, but I didn't want to
Be an attorney.
be an attorney. So I went into my career, starting with helping with marketing, with life insurance, annuities, investments, financial planning, and got an opportunity to come to San Antonio in '99. Helped advise, was the advisor's advisor, helped train and educate insurance and investment advisors around the country on how to take care of long-term care is a big thing. Investments, annuities, just providing that leverage. And then after two ventures there, I started my own company in '09.
Great. That's a lot of experience. And
Yeah.
it all started with your grandmother.
Right. And actually, what we're going to talk about today about long-term care, had I known what I know today, or even 20 years ago, when my grandmother first needed her care, she blew through her whole inheritance that she had from my great-grandfather, and paying for home care, paying for the nursing home, when today I know that we could have protected some of those assets when she got to the nursing home for my mom and my uncle. But so my grandmother was a really a key part of what I do today. And I know my brother in Florida will say the same, because he's also in the industry. And so I use those examples. My own mother, I knew she had double scoliosis, and as she got older, she just kept bending over more. And so I was able to get her long-term care. I made sure got it paid for, because I was able to use that 3-year policy for about 3.5 years. It wasn't until she was age 85 that we needed to start using it. But had she not had that, I wouldn't have had the luxury of having home health care, assisted living for over 3 years, and then into a nursing home when she needed to leave. But it gave choice.
Yeah, my grandmother influenced my career choice as well. When I was in law school, she was in the nursing home because she had osteoarthritis,
Right.
and she just couldn't move, and my granddad couldn't lift her. And my granddad said, they're kicking her out of the nursing home. And I said, what? She's the nicest lady I've ever known. What could she do to get evicted from the nursing home? Well, what he meant was that Medicare was going to stop paying. And in his mind, he wasn't going to be able to pay several $1,000s a month for nursing home care. And I said, Granddad, I think there's something that we can do to get her qualified for Medicaid. I didn't know anything about their financial situation. I just had learned about this at law school. And he said, no, there's not. I've already tried. But it's what got me interested in it.
Well, that's where we have a lot in common.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're going to get into some specific law that helped change the industry, the Pension Protection Act,
Right.
2006, right?
Yeah, it was passed in 2006. Actually didn't go into force until January 1st of 2010. It took a few years to get it all because of tax replications inside of it.
Right. So we're going to be talking about that. We're going to talk about how you care for your parents in your family example. And so other people can see that with your example, with your grandmother, it started with home care, assisted living care, nursing home care. And not everybody goes through those three types.
Right.
Somebody could have a sudden illness or accident that lands them in the nursing home, or they might have Parkinson's or dementia or Alzheimer's specifically. And so you help a lot of those families.
Right. And we help them through actually into the claim process and everything. So
That's great. Okay, well, you're listening to Talk Law Radio. This is Stuart Waldenmaier. He has a company called TLC
advisory group.
Advisory Group, and we're going to be talking about a sinner in the next segment, so stay tuned for that.
Talk Law Radio with Todd Marquardt is sponsored by the Marquardt Law Firm and does not attempt to solve your individual legal problems upon the basis of information contained herein. Instead, contact an attorney to discuss the specific facts and circumstances of your unique situation. The views and opinions of this program do not reflect the views of the Salem Media Group.
Welcome back to Talk Law Radio. In the beginning, God had one law. Then he gave Moses the 10 Commandments. And now we have municipal, state, and federal lawmakers that won't stop creating new laws, laws that might impact you without you knowing it. So tune in to Talk Law Radio, share it with your friends, go to YouTube, search for Talk Law Radio, look for the Lady Justice logo with the red, white, and blue colors, and click subscribe. That way you can watch these videos in short 10 to 12 minute segments while you're walking the dog, washing the dishes, or working in the garage. Well, this is the Sinners and Saints segment. I love that song.
Yeah.
So we're going to have to find a new song because Facebook keeps jumbling up that song because they don't want me to play it on Facebook. They say that there's copyright infringement. There's not, but that's what they do. And so Mark is going to help us find a song. I was thinking of A Mighty Fortress Is Our God.
I like it.
Yeah, hopefully, I don't think it's copyrighted. It's just so old. But the center I want to talk about before we get back to solutions for paying for long-term care is whoever kidnapped the Guthrie woman.
Right.
Can you imagine somebody kidnapping your grandmother or your elderly parents? It's awful. So if you kidnapped that lady, bring her back. You're a sinner. It's wrong. Okay, back to the issue at hand, long-term care. So, what are some of the differences about how you can help? What can people do besides just taking money out of their savings account? Or, God forbid, somebody has to withdraw more than their minimum required distributions to pay for long-term care because now they're paying more in taxes, and it's just not the most efficient way to do it, I would imagine.
Right. Well, excuse me.
Okay, go ahead, take a drink. Stuart Waldenmaier has a company called TLC Advisory Group, and he helps people figure out solutions to pay for long-term care because it's not as easy as it seems.
By all means, it's not. So when somebody, well, the first thing is for somebody to become interested in why do I need long-term care? We're all invincible, when we're growing up in our 20s. So you look back and you get to where we're at today, and it's like, wow, how did I get here? This body's still intact. Thank you, Jesus. And but so much like with what you run into on the legacy planning, is people don't like to talk about it. They don't like to talk about long-term care.
Right.
It's not going to happen to me. They don't want to do legacy planning, a will, probate, because they don't want to think about dying. Don't want to think about having a chronic illness, and don't want to think about the fact that we all we're not immortal. We're going to pass. And so they put that off until heavy.
Here, take that. I'm going to talk about some statistics.
Yeah.
Risks that people face just by being older. And, I like to use Grok, the AI for X, to come up with this. I use the paid version because it's a better search. So I asked, what are the top 10 risks that older Americans face just in their later years? And number one was insufficient retirement savings or financial insecurity. Nearly half, 46% of older adults, fear not having enough saved for retirement, often exacerbated by fixed incomes and rising costs. So, first of all, people need to save money, probably.
Right.
Maybe you don't spend as much on those Amazon boxes every day, every week, every month, every year, like my wife does. So save your money. And then what do you do with that savings that can leverage the impact that it has on paying the cost?
Well, the first is to, of course, the two concerns is one about not having enough money to effectively live as a potential long life. And the second is concern about long-term care. So they roll in together.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you have savings and you come to us at 65 or 70 or 75 or even 80, and you don't have long-term care, but now you're realizing you had your mother, an aunt, grandmother, somebody who's gone through it, somebody in your church who's gone, the family is going through working with us to do Medicaid planning, or they're spending down their assets. And all of a sudden they're like, okay, now I'd like to talk about that. And then you've already got some medical issues. Well, there's a lot of solutions out here today that you can use to leverage some of the funds like you might have in a CD or a existing annuity that you already have. A little more challenging when you're dealing with the IRA and with distributions out of the IRA because of taxes. We have to take that into play. But you could get a leverage. Majority of folks can get a leverage of up to 200% to over 300% of every dollar that they put into one of these vehicles that's used to help a hybrid long-term care, either life insurance or annuity, that they can use for long-term care in the future if they need to, but if they don't use it, they don't lose it. There's an inert benefit of either the account value or a death benefit of the life insurance account value of the life annuity that will pay out to their heirs or to their spouse. And so there's ways that they can leverage their savings that the CD is not going to do. And as a financial advisor, somebody at age 80, we sit down with and we can leverage $100,000 into $300,000 of long-term care tax-free that's growing. That's a 300% increase.
And so how can the insurance company afford that?
Well, they hope that you don't use it for all of it. That's how they look at it. So they, of course, they have actuaries that determine probabilities and everything. And some of the underwriting is a lot simpler today on some of these hybrid products because the first 2 years or 3 years typically, you're using whatever you put in, either the premium into an annuity or the death benefit of the life insurance. And then they have a rider that's guaranteed that continues to pay the remaining benefit. So you use your money first, and then you're into the insurance company's money, so to speak. And that's how you get the leverage.
Okay, well, that sounds really powerful. And because people are living longer with disabilities and incapacity, I would imagine the older you get, the chances of being incapacitated, losing the ability to think or to remember things, or having a physical disability where you need nurses to take care of your body and things like that. I'm sure the probability goes up. Before the show, we heard that commercial on the radio about Big Lou.
Yeah.
He's like you, he's on meds too.
Yes.
So could you help somebody like that? Somebody that's already suffering some medical conditions?
We sure can. There actually are some solutions that require no underwriting. Now, you're not going to get as much leverage as you would if you could pass some simple questions. And some are just actually done on paper and they don't even order medical records. Some are video and a telephone interview. So there's a lot of different solutions. Just getting to know, the most important thing as a financial advisor is getting to know our customers and our clients and understand. Send us the list of the meds that you take. With what we're doing on the Medicare planning side, we already do that. We already help with figuring out which drug company is the best one to use for it. So we take everything into consideration of what medical comparants. We compare it across the whole paradigm of all the different solutions out there to find the one or two that would make the most sense for a client to apply for. And there's always some guaranteed back options that we can use.
Okay, you have an offer for the audience if they want some information from you. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, we have a couple pieces that we put together to just help people understand the different ways that they can look at paying for long-term care. One is a really nice 16-page brochure. I can email this. I don't think we have it on the website yet, but we can email it or can come by the office. It's about what if you need long-term care? And it goes through here and it talks about what I talked about earlier, the 5 different ways you can pay, and just gives examples. Really great resource tool.
Okay.
We can't keep them printed we got to keep constantly printing in our office because so many folks are coming in and they're just grabbing them, which is great because it's getting the word out and people are finally sitting down and saying, we need to do this. Now, if you have $3 million, you might not be as interested in protecting your assets with long-term care. But somebody who has 500,000, million and a half, they need to start looking at it because the cost of care, it's not what it is today that you got to be worried about. It's what is it in 20 years when you might need to use it.
Right. So tell the audience, how can they contact you to ask for that?
To contact us, again, Stuart Waldenmaier, TLC Advisory Group. You can call the office at 210-298-0237. The phone number again is 210-298-0237. Or you can email me at Stuart, STUART, at tlcag.net.
Okay, great. That's a good resource, and you need to find out what's available. What options are you going to have? Don't just sit back and wait for something bad to happen. Let's plan in advance. It's a gift to your future self. I was reading this article in the New York Times about how to do things for your future self as if it's a different person, because it's easier to do something nice for another person than to do something nice for yourself.
Right.
We got to take a break. We'll be right back. Stay tuned. Are you 100% confident that no matter what happens in the financial markets, economy, or world events, you will achieve your financial goals? If not, we have a process to get your financial house in perfect order and keep it that way forever. Your financial future shouldn't be a guessing game. Planning, advice, organization, and accountability are deliverables you should expect. For over 35 years, Financial Planning HQ has been San Antonio's trusted partner for comprehensive written lifetime financial strategies. Steve and his team, including sons Joseph and Jacob, don't believe in a one-size-fits-all approach. Instead, they create a personalized financial roadmap for you based on what's important to you. As an independent registered investment advisor, they're not tied to any big corporation's products. They work for you, creating inspiring, intelligent financial strategies that put your interests first. Call Financial Planning HQ at 210-685-2722. That's 210-685-2722. Estate planning is about love, not money. It's one of the most thoughtful things you can do for the people you care about. I'm attorney Todd Marquardt, and I help families prepare for the unexpected so they can avoid court, avoid confusion, and avoid conflict. Whether you're starting from scratch or updating an old plan, I'll walk you through it. Get started with a free consultation. Call 210-530-4278 or visit marquardtlawfirm.com. Do it before you die.
9:30 a.m. The Answer.
Welcome back to Talk Law Radio. I'm Todd Marquardt. This is Stuart Waldenmaier. He owns and operates TLC Advisory Group. He's been talking about how to pay for the high cost of long-term care, all the different ways that you can pay for it, all the different options. And if you want to call him for information or email him, you can, and we'll let you give your contact information in just a bit. But now it's time for the legacy segment.
And now it's time for the Talk Law Radio Legacy Spotlight. What's your legacy? Sponsored by Marquardt Law Firm.
Stuart, you know that attorneys at Marquardt Law Firm focus on business and estate law, including last wills, living trusts, and tax-protected inheritance plans. It's all about legacy.
It's all about it.
So we like to ask our guest for the show about their legacy, and you can share some family heirlooms or some values that you learned from those who have gone before you, or you can talk about family heirlooms or values that you plan to pass on to your kids and grandkids.
Well, definitely, Todd, legacy planning is the fifth step of our financial review that we do with clients. And it's so important to pass on just the morals, values, of course, assets, things of that nature. But a lot of people have a unique story or things that they've done in their life. Whether it was swimming and getting, like I did, I swam competitively. I don't look like it for 18 years, but I have a whole trove of trophies, medals.
Wow.
Ribbons, a box of them. I don't have a display room for them because I didn't become Olympian. Every time the Olympics come around, I'm like, that's great. But there's certain things that folks, for me personally, one of my biggest legacy is hard work. I learned that from my grandparents, my father and mother, just working hard and helping others. Always not only just helping yourself, but helping others. And that's why I do what I do today. And it's not a job. I get up every day and it's a passion to go out and help people. We pray with people in our office, a little different than a lot of other advisory firms, and that we got to get to know our clients, and they share with us what's going on, and we share our struggles, and because we all have struggles.
Mm-hmm.
And so my biggest legacy is what we've developed with TLC Advisory Group, which stands for Trust, Loyalty, Commitment. We also say tender, loving care. And one of our new advisors said, and it also could be taste like chicken, but that's not. But it definitely something that I put all these years and passion into building is for that legacy to pass down. Hopefully, some of my family involvement, of course, and with the staff of the company to continue the legacy when I'm long gone. Hopefully, many years down the road.
Right. That's a terrific legacy. And everybody that you help, sometimes they refer their family members to you. And so that's them helping their family members.
Right, and we don't ask for folks to refer people to us. It happens, and as a business owner yourself, you understand
Mm-hmm.
that's the biggest form of gratitude, that you're doing the right things. When all of a sudden we get the seventh or eighth, because we have some big families in San Antonio,
Mm-hmm.
and we get the seventh or eighth sibling to come work with us, that's a lot. And then we get the parents, but we haven't had to do really any type of marketing programs because we just get so many referrals, because obviously we're doing what's right. And that's by looking at each individual person and their individual circumstance.
Is there anything that we need to follow up on with regards to paying for long-term care that you had on your list that you might want to give more details about?
Really not. Just the main thing is it can and will wipe out an estate if you haven't prepared for it. Is to sit down with an advisor, look at all the options, figure out if long-term care is doable for you and how you can leverage to take care of that part of the planning piece. Because that's the one it's not until we see it on the crisis Medicaid side, the family calls and mom's going from hospital to the nursing home, and they're not expecting her to be able to go home. How am I going to take care of her? And they haven't thought about the what if with the long-term care. So that's the only thing is much like getting your wills, your power of attorneys, getting those things done in advance from the legal side, is to get your ducks in a row on the long-term care side.
I meet with a lot of people that work for great companies that have great company benefits, and most of these people have no idea what they have. They just spend so much money paying for their company benefits every month
Right.
that they think they have everything. And so I'll ask them, do you have long-term care insurance? And they'll say, oh yeah, it's with the company. Do you ever help people review their company benefits and see where the holes are?
Well, they get that confused. They get long-term and short-term disability
Mm-hmm.
many times confused with true long-term care.
Right.
They're thinking of, for a disability, that they could have their check covered, okay,
Right.
with short-term and long-term. Now, some companies do actually offer a group long-term care, and when that's available, we tell our customers and clients, do take a look at it, get the information, we can review it, because usually that's a simplified way that they can obtain some long-term care.
Mark, did we have a call? Okay. Well, you could call the show if you wanted to. It's almost over, but the number's 210-308-8867, 210-308-8867. And why don't you remind us how people can contact you if they are interested in looking at their options, and how do I pay for this? It's so expensive.
Right. To reach me and to reach our team, call 210-298-0237. Again, that's 210-298-0237. Or you can email me at Stuart, Stuart, at tlcag.net. And you can go to our website and also look, because we have a lot of information on our website about long-term care, videos that I've done, short videos about it. I guess the one thing that I did miss out saying is that one way that we find that we can fund some of the long-term care benefits is old life insurance policies, whole life policies that have cash value.
Mm-hmm.
They have a death benefit, the cash value. People aren't using the cash value. The initial was to use that for maybe loans to help pay kids for college. They never did that.
Mm-hmm.
We can utilize that to get today's hybrid life insurance policies that have the long-term care leverage. We can utilize existing annuities on the annuity to annuity transfer. That's what the Pension Protection Act allowed, was to transfer from one annuity to a hybrid long-term care annuity. And if you need to use the hybrid long-term care annuity, all the gains that you had in that prior annuity are tax-free. So it opened up the door for helping provide that, and we can do monthly life insurance, annual. There's all different solutions.
Okay. And tax-free is real money.
That's real money. I mean, going, like I said, from going 100,000 to 300,000 tax-free, if you're at age 80, it's going to take a very, very aggressive, over-aggressive investing to grow $100,000 to 300,000 after tax, tax-free.
Awesome.
So,
Back to the legacy question,
Mhm.
you had told me about an idea that you had for some of your clients to make a video of their legacy using Zoom or other video conferencing software. Tell us about that.
yeah, I've seen it and recommended for several of our clients, and they're actually doing it. If anybody wants to look, you saw yesterday just on the evening news, Eric Dane, his last interview, that because he had ALS, his last interview he left was recorded, but he didn't air it till after his passing, and his last words was to his two girls, almost makes me cry, "I love you. Good night." So doing a video is a great way to just share with each of you. You can do it to each of your different children, to your spouse.
Mm-hmm.
You can write a letter to a spouse and leave it, and you can update them. But it's a great tool to just share and write down what you care about. And of course, I know folks don't want to do it because that's talking about something that I don't want to have happen.
Mm-hmm.
But the clients who have done it, they love it. We have a vault that we use for putting together all documents for a client in a safe, secure place. Then one could be having a video link there, or you can do these little flash drives now. I mean, the technology has increased so much
Right.
that it's so much easier to do things like that. And it's a lot more than just a piece of paper, the will or a trust, sitting down and going through it, because it's more personal.
Right. Personal values. What are the hopes and the dreams and the goals that you have for your kids? They used to do that back in the Old Testament.
Mhm.
They would the blessing that the father gave his sons was, "This is what I hope you will accomplish."
Right.
And so that's the video that I would do. I would say, get to work, take care of your family, do things for other people, take care of God's people, and of course, somehow do something to expand the kingdom of God.
Exactly.
Tell us a little bit about your faith and how you said that you share your faith with your clients. Tell us about what that means for your family.
Well, we're a Christian family, and my wife is actually in her PhD writing her
The big paper.
the big paper, the little 250-page thesis that she's doing, and doing research on that right now, and working on it. And we've led the young adults in our church during that COVID time period. That was a interesting time to do that. And but it's just sharing our faith with our clients, because we we do see so many people have medical chronic illnesses and
Mhm.
things, and that diagnosis of cancer, I got to have a bypass surgery, and just to say, if you don't mind, I'd like to just pray with you right now. And so we do it. So every day, I never know if I'm going to go in and going to be praying with some of our family members and clients of ours, or if it's just going to be a regular day.
Right.
You never know.
Okay. Well, thank you for being on the show.
Thank you very much, Todd, and
It
I
was
feel
fun.
blessed to be here with you guys.
Awesome. Well, you've been listening to Talk Law Radio. This is Stuart Waldenmaier. He has a company called TLC Advisory Group. If you're interested in exploring your options with him, go to his website, TLC
advisorygroup.net.
I'll talk to you later.
Most families don't realize they have hidden legal blind spots until it's too late. Wills, trusts, Medicaid planning, even protecting a business. These are the kinds of issues attorney Todd Marquardt helps uncover before they become problems. Todd is the host of Talk Law Radio, where each week he guides listeners through the legal challenges families, veterans, and business owners face, while showing them the practical steps to protect what matters most. Catch Talk Law Radio, Saturdays at 11 a.m. on 9:30 a.m. The Answer, 6:30 a.m. The Word, and now in Houston on AM 1070 and 103.3 FM The Answer, or anytime on YouTube. Planning isn't just about documents. It's about peace of mind, security for loved ones, and building a legacy that lasts. Don't wait for a crisis. Do it before you die.